You're also watching the AM News. We take you now to the Ashanti region. There are 8 recorded polio cases in 6 districts, more than any region in Ghana since the beginning of this year. The cases, all vaccine-derived polio virus type 2, represent about 80% of 12 cases recorded nationwide. Though health authorities will not give details of affected districts, they say the situation calls for public support as it rolls out a 3-day immunization exercise targeted at about 1.2 million children under 5 years. Ohim Interior has more in the following report.
Authorities say affected districts are noted for low immunization and insanitary conditions. Deputy Regional Health Director in charge of public health, Dr. Yao Ofori-Yeboah, asked parents to avail children under 5 years for the administration of safe vaccine in all 43 districts of the Ashanti region.
It is important to stress at this point that polio has no cure. It can only be prevented through immunization, good hygiene, and sanitation practices. However, polio vaccine, which is known to prevent the disease, is given at birth or soon after birth, and subsequently given at 6 weeks, 10 weeks, and 14 weeks. In spite of all these efforts, the Ashanti region recently recorded in 6 districts what we call vaccine-derived polio virus type 2. And in accordance with established protocol, the region, together with other regions in the country, will be embarking on massive polio immunization exercise. The focus will be for children under the age of 5 years. In the Ashanti region, will be targeting 1,184,860 children aged below 5 years. The government of Ghana, through Ministry of Health and the Ghana Health Service, together with our partners, have mobilized 2,714 teams to support the program in the Ashanti region.
Dr. Ofori-Yeboah admits the advent of COVID-19, which has affected routine health services in the region, could be partly blamed for the situation.
In general terms, because of COVID-19, all services, indeed all the services that we provide to the public, in one way or the other, have suffered. And it is due to so many things. And certainly one of them has to do with the fact that when people had the perception that when they go to hospitals or any of health facilities, they are at higher risk of contracting COVID-19. And therefore, a lot of people on their own volition decided not to even seek care, as they used to do. But we will not, I wouldn't like to link this one because the low immunization coverage is over a period that, can have this sort of effect that we are talking about. But certainly, the outbreak of COVID-19 has had a lot of negative, effects on routine service delivery.
Meanwhile, the World Health Organization says polio has been detected in some parts of the Greater Accra and Eastern regions. Fred Osei-Sapong is immunization officer.
We've recorded a case in Northern Region, Northeast, Savannah, Oti, Bono East, Bono, Ahafo, Western Region, Ashanti Region. And then in Greater Accra and Eastern Region, we found the virus in an environmental sewage. What we are also doing is, aside the fact that the virus can infect an individual and get that individual paralyzed, the virus is usually in the environment. So in order for us to satisfy ourselves that we don't have the virus with us, we do pick samples from environmental sewage, sent to the lab, and then we test. We did that, and then we realized that in Eastern Region and Greater Accra, they have the virus within the environment. But we are happy to say that no child in these two regions have had the disease.
For Joy News, I'm Interior reporting.
And that's it for the AM News. We've got plenty more stories on myjoyonline.com. But you know what we do after the news? We bring you the newspaper review, some of the stories that you'll be hearing. There's a follow-up to that story we shared this week about the 12-year-old boy in Cape Coast who, in the process of escaping further punishment from his father, jumped from a story building to his death. Well, the stepmother and the father have appeared in court, and they are now in police custody. The papers are sharing details of that, we'll tell you. And then Kennedy Japan is in the news. Well, today he's been apologizing. There's a session in one of the papers where he's issued an apology to the courts. Why? Well, he claims that a judgment was given in the case without his knowledge. He got really upset and said some very uncomfortable words to the judge in the process. The judge issued a warrant, has summoned him to appear on Monday, next week, Monday, 14th of September. But even ahead of that, he has been apologizing. We'll tell you what he's been saying. There are plenty other stories in the newspapers that we will explore with Isaac J. Hyde, the NUC's president, and Joseph Akable. That's shortly after this.